again. Thanks so much for your time.
Yes, what's up? So nice to see you.
Absolutely. It's interesting, right? Because it's a really amazing time for horror movies right now. And I'm wondering when you kind of booked a role like this, like, was there this kind of like interest in specifically working in horror movies, knowing that there's a big appetite for it right now?
No, no, the only thing that interests me is that I had never done horror. And I'm like, wow, I'm literally in the whole film, just me, my face, and my emotions. It's so challenging. I was so nervous, but I said, these are the things that are going to make me a better actress, a better person. So I said, I have to do things that scare me. And I'm literally scared of horror films. And now I dipped my toes into one. And I had so much fun.
It's crazy too because a lot of what we see too is like effects or the edit and afterwards, right? So, but like, were there moments where it really felt like terrifying making this
Okay,
film, or were you in the
so
zone?
I was chanting, right? I was
Yeah.
saying these words, and on set, the camera would stop working, it would rain, the lights would flicker. So we had to ask the writer to change some of these words because things were starting to get a little freaky on set.
Absolutely. So it's interesting. Your first horror movie, David Dastmalchian, not his first horror movie, right? Did you
No!
talk to him about that at all? Like, were you like, hey, what's the space like and
I
everything?
I was just in awe when he was there. I was just looking. He is so talented. He doesn't do, I feel like he doesn't do anything, but yet he does so much when he's on screen. Like he could be on screen for 2 seconds or for the whole movie, and you remember him and you remember his characters. And he's such a sweet guy, and he's so funny and he's so kind, and he genuinely cares to make sure that everyone around him, when we were doing scenes with me, he's like, what do you need from me? Do you need me to give you anything else? Just working with someone like that is so it just makes me love my work a lot more because you just feel that people care, and when people care, it's just calming and worth it.
Absolutely. And I do find it very interesting too, because you can answer this with Rosario, you can answer this with Love or Shadowhunters. There's gonna be certain scenes in movies that we see on screen and it's like 2 minutes, right? Like a 2 minute scene. But that scene might have taken you like a whole day of the film or a couple of days, right? When that happens, do they feel like mini movies, like just that scene? Or does it feel like it's a big part of the project? Because I always thought
Let
that
me
was
tell you,
interesting.
when I was filming with the worms, I thought it was like a whole year filming with the worm. I
Exactly.
was so
I thought you were
scared.
gonna
I
mention
mean, these
that.
poor little things, what are they gonna do? But let me tell you, these worms have handlers, okay? No animal was harmed while we were doing this film. No
Yeah.
worm was harmed. These worms have handlers that put them on set. They're allowed to film for 1 or 2 takes. They're removed, and then new worms are put in the set, which was
Mhm.
I didn't know that, that these worms were so well taken care of. But yeah, I had to pull one out of my ear. I couldn't do it, and then have one in my hand. I also so I thank my stand-in and my double for kind of taking one for the team.
Absolutely. Couple more questions now. I find it interesting as well because, you look at a film like this that, there's going to be a lot of conversations you're probably going to have with, the writers, directors, and your cast and David and everything. But I'm kind of wondering, when do those conversations occur for you? Like, are they kind of pre-production conversations? Is there a lot of conversations like while you're in production? Like, I'm just curious about
It's
that.
both. So
Yeah.
you're talking, analyzing, this is going to happen on set, but then when you're on set and things are different, there's a new prop, there's a new thing. It doesn't work anymore. This line doesn't work anymore. This line is better. So it's in constant evolving. It's evolving, and we're thinking for the best. I mean, we even had to do a day of reshoots because we're like, actually we want this instead of that. So it's happening all the time, and you're just hoping that everyone is on the same page and that the audience receives it with the same amount of thought you gave it.
Absolutely. It's funny because you say it's the first horror movie, and like, Shadowhunters wasn't horror, but there's definitely some elements in there.
I guess
Did
you're
you
right.
bring
I
any
guess you're right.
mindsets or preparations from your time on Shadowhunters to something like this, or are they completely separate?
Yeah. No, definitely because sometimes you just have to react to nothing, right? On Shadowhunters, we did a lot of green screen work. So it did help with feeling certain type of emotions and not having the actual person there. But yeah, I mean, you're right. Shadowhunters wasn't horror, but there was a lot of danger in it, I guess. But Isabel was like different, you know? Her energy is like, who was she ever scared of? And in this film, it's like Rosario is dealing with her own personal demons and exterior demons. So it's all around her. And
What
she
was
doesn't
the
have a
script
whip. She doesn't have a whip to tackle these demons, you know?
like? But what was that? That's such an interesting segue because it's like the demon kind of component. Like that script to screen journey is always going to be different, right? So what was
Yeah.
that like? Kind of reading all that and then eventually kind of seeing it come to life. Given what you just said, sometimes you have to react to nothing. Like what was that script to screen journey like?
Yeah, yeah. When I saw it on screen, I was so surprised, so pleasantly surprised. The way I love the cinematography, I love the color. I thought the makeup effects did such a great job with our monsters, and it just kind of feels like an old school traditional horror film, you know, with not so much CGI and any of that. So it was really exciting to see it because you know sometimes you're shooting a horror film and then you look at it and you're like, oh no, this is silly, like what did we just do? But in this case it was really nice to watch. I feel it has a lot of heart, and it's scary.
May 2nd in theaters, Rosario. I can't wait for them
Yes.
to see it. Everyone, so good seeing you again. Thank you so much for your time.
No, thank you so much. I hope to see you again very soon.
Absolutely. Good to see you again. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Of course. Bye.
Thank you for tuning in to Popternative. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Popternative on YouTube.
This has been an Autograph Communications production.